Like a live version of Axel Proof, maybe from the 1881. Where was that from?
That was from, that last one was
Steve
Ben
Weingart?
Shepherd, yeah.
Ben?
Yeah, and
Oh.
then this one is Mitch Foreman and Hadrian. I'm just running them while I'm cutting and pasting here.
Where'd you find these, on YouTube?
I'll tell you in a minute. Hold on.
I don't even have those. It's like I recognized. I said, "Oh yeah, that's us." Okay.
I'll show you in a minute. I'm just cutting and pasting some.
And you're recording this, right? Today.
I am. I am.
My cousin said he clicked on the link and he got something weird, so he's wondering if we were recording it.
Yes, we're recording, and he can go to YouTube as well. But
Okay.
okay, so I'm showing people what I'm looking at, and so there's a bunch of these clips, and this was on your YouTube.
On my channel?
Yeah, on your channel.
Oh, I guess I do have the link then. Oh yeah, that's my little club in Pasadena that I booked in the 1881.
I know. I still haven't come over there. It's really silly.
But you should sing with us sometime. I'll book a date for you.
Oh, cool. I really want to come and listen. I've thought about it, on and off for so long. How long have you been there? A long time, right?
About 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But then the pandemic, or about 3 years, I guess. But the pandemic shut us down for a while.
Yeah.
But we're back now, and things are really, they're doing really well.
Yeah. I just want to play just a little bit more.
E.T.
Sounds great.
I was a Kurt Rosenwinkel tune called Minor Blues.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. This is cool. And ladies and gentlemen, this is my guest, Joel Taylor, who Joel Taylor and I go way back, but I mean, we haven't seen each other in a long time or
Long
worked together in
time.
super long.
But
Yeah,
we haven't. We've seen each other. I think I saw you maybe a year ago down in
at
what is it?
Catalina's or something.
No, the place you booked down in Playa del Rey.
Oh, okay.
With Greg Carucas, you came out, I think, to the first gig that we did
Yeah,
there.
that's right. I did actually.
And thanks
That
for
was
getting us
fun.
down there.
Yeah. I actually saw Luis Conti there too,
Oh
which
yeah,
was fun.
Luis is always great.
Yeah. So like I'm just opening a new window here, doing a little stuff. So Joel Taylor is a very diverse drummer, wouldn't you say?
That's a good word, amongst others. But yeah, I like to mix it up. I never started out wanting to be a jazz drummer or anything. In fact, when I was 14, I wanted to be a studio drummer,
Oh,
and actually even more uh,
huh.
more true, I guess, a studio trumpet player. Because I was really a trumpet player, until I was 20 or so,
Oh,
and a weekend warrior drummer. So,
interesting.
but I've
Okay.
always wanted to, since I was 14, I knew I wanted to move to LA and get to the studios and do that sort of thing. It just
That's
kind of
so
switched,
interesting. That's like you
different
don't really hear
along the
that a
way.
lot. I've heard people who didn't really want to be a player, but they wanted to be a writer, and they became more of a composer.
Sure.
And I've of course you hear people who started on one instrument and then migrated to another. But yeah, it's interesting. Where are you from?
I'm from a little town called Worland, Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Yeah, the mecca of jazz. not not mecca of cows and elk.
Do you
And
remember Stephanie Haynes, the singer?
yeah, what
She was a
boy?
really, really great jazz singer. She passed away about 9 years ago.
Oh,
She was like really good, but she was from Wyoming.
she was.
Yeah.
Well, there's so few of us. I mean, the whole state when I was growing up it had 330,000 people. So
Oh,
I think it's growing to like 450,000 now. Though this is and it's a big state.
it's a
So
big state.
there's
Yeah.
definitely about 100 times more animals there than people.
It's so
Uh,
beautiful there.
it
One of my
is.
husband's cousins had a sapphire mine there, and we went to hang
Wow.
out for a week or two. It was like,
Did
wow, this is really beautiful.
did you go searching for sapphire?
We
That's
didn't go into the mine. We went, they had set up like, they kind of salt these bags and then they sell the bags and you sit there and you look through the bags and you find sapphires. But
oh,
we didn't go into
so
the mine
the
itself.
sapphire is the blue gem, right?
Well, interestingly enough, sapphire is any color, but we
Oh,
generally think of it as blue,
yeah.
but it actually can be any color, which I never knew.
Okay.
I
What
don't
what
know.
what part of Wyoming?
I don't remember.
If it was mines, maybe it was down by Rock Springs or Green River, the
It was
southern part.
somewhat near an airport location, like a common airport location.
Well, since there's only two airports in the whole state, no. No, we have airports.
Maybe I'll look while we're playing some music or something.
All
But
good.
Wyoming is really really beautiful. And
Certainly
is it
is.
Wyoming that oh gosh, names really leave my mind. I did a festival once and I think it was Wyoming in like one of a classic old town that had been around in the cowboy times.
Laramie probably or Casper.
Casper sounds familiar.
Casper,
Yeah.
they have a community college there, and the music director actually brings in
Oh,
clinicians from time to time. In fact, Eric Marienthal, who
oh,
I've been working with for 20 some years,
yeah.
he was down there a couple of weeks ago,
Oh,
and I'm like, why didn't you bring me? Anyway, all my friends go, but I never get to go. But I go once a year to fly fish, and that's usually in August, and it's all my old high school buddies and my brother who still lives in Casper, and a couple of my brother's friends, and we all get to. There's a place called Ten Sleep, and it's about 20 minutes from where I grew up in the Bighorn Mountains, and it looks like Sedona. It's
wow.
got the red rock. It's so beautiful, and the fly fishing is off the hook there. Um,
Wow.
I remember one summer we were following this map, a handwritten map, and it was way out in the boonies, way probably. I mean, the town's only like 400 people, so it's a small town. But
Pretty small.
this is probably 15 miles from town, and we were out and we were trying to find. We spent the whole day looking for this secret passage down into South Fork Canyon, and supposedly there's these giant trout fish down there that never see humans, and it took us literally the whole day, and we finally gave up. And as we were going out, we saw these, what it wasn't even a road. We just saw like tire tracks that kind of led to the edge of the canyon, and we're going, wait a minute, let's look at that. And it was it. And there was this little tiny passageway from the top, like on the edge of the canyon wall. These canyon walls are like 400 or 500 feet down, and there was this little tiny. You could barely fit in there. And
Wow.
then the person who found it had actually put a rope ladder in there, and it was a bat cave, for real. And
Oh,
it was thank God it was an abandoned bat cave, but at one point there had been tons of bats in there, and we went down in there, and we were able to. That's the only way you can get into the canyon unless you start at one end or the other. But then it's like a 5-6 mile hike.
oh.
So by the time you get to where the good fish are, you're ready to head back.
Did you
Anyway,
actually did you
we
actually get there and
yeah,
fish?
we got there, and we had about an hour left before it got dark to fish, and yeah, and they were huge, but the problem was it was I think it was at the end of August, so the stream was really low. So as soon as you saw them, they saw you.
Oh, wow.
So it was almost impossible to catch them because we spooked them, and they knew you were there. But there were some incredible, beautiful fish, and
What an
it was
adventure.
it was just a really cool adventure. Yeah,
Wow. And you've been doing that for years, like once a year?
yeah, yeah.
I
So,
love that. I remember Tom Warrington used to do that, go up to Canada with his old friends or brother or something every
oh,
year. Yep.
nice.
Yeah, it's really,
Yeah. I,
that's
how's Tom doing? He's down in New
New
Zealand,
Zealand.
right? Didn't he just
Yeah.
get married down there? I haven't seen him in years.
Um,
Mm.
let's see. It was a few months ago. Bob Bowman, do you remember him, the bass player?
Yeah.
He came because he's living in some like Montana or somewhere.
Oh,
And so he came and he did this unbelievably great gig in the back of somebody's yard. And it had Josh Nelson on piano and Steve Houghton on drums and
oh,
Bob Shepard and Larry Kuntz and Clay Jenkins.
wow.
They played so great, and as a matter of fact, just to throw it out there, I think they're actually coming here. Is it April or March? It's like, yeah, April. The first, he's going to be at Sam First with that group for a CD release party the first weekend of April, which I am so there because that concert was so good. It was stupid good, you know.
Wow. I mean, that's quite the personnel, and they used to play together all the time. I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. Clay Jenkins is so interesting. His musical perspective is so distinct and unique, really interesting.
I totally agree.
Um, yeah. So
Write
wow,
that
this is
down.
cool. Very cool. So let's see. Let me just check in with people. Crystal husband is here.
Hi, Crystal.
Gary Meek.
Oh, hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Another person I miss playing with. We used to play
Yeah.
a lot together with Lorber and with Brian Bromberg.
Oh, maybe it's time to play again. Let's see. Roland, my friend Roland. Oh, he loves Zappa. He's probably going to ask you if you played with Zappa. Did you?
I didn't play with Zappa, but I played in an alumni band called Band from Utopia, and I did a couple of tours of Europe with those guys. So, and I was a huge Zappa fan growing up. The first thing I ever transcribed in my life, again, I was magical age of 14, and I transcribed Zombie Wolf for the trumpet part down there, which happened to be Sal Marquez.
Oh,
Um, but
wow.
it was a very interesting uh, that music. I listened to it all the time, and I would drive my mom crazy. Said, stop playing that yeller dog music. Like it's like the yellow snow, where the huskies go. Stop playing that yeller dog music. Anyway,
That's funny.
oh,
Well,
uh,
Zappa was kind of, he was like the leader for so long, right? And if you played with Zappa or you were into him, that really spoke of your taste
no,
and abilities.
I never got the chance to audition for him, but had he lived longer, I know I would have.
Yeah,
Not that
yeah,
I would have got the gig, but I would have definitely, tried to
yeah.
audition.
I know Chris Blondal went on a tour and rehearsed for like several weeks with Zappa's kid, and doing the music. He said he really needed the rehearsal for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that music you have to rehearse,
yeah, yeah.
es- especially because Dweezil they do a lot of different segues. I think I saw him once at the Nam show. They did like 30 tunes,
Oh,
but only two bars of each tune, like back to back. It was
oh
like
my God.
insane, insane. Anyway,
Wow.
so who else is out there? Gary.
My friend Roland Askerons, who's
Oh, okay.
kind of a closet guitarist. Caracast.
Oh my goodness! I met her at a Robbie Krieger gig maybe I think 6, 7 years ago down near San Diego. Hi, Kara. All right.
Cool. Cool. And Harry Howell.
Oh, very nice. They got my invites then. Hi, Harry. Harry is a big Allan Holdsworth fan. I met him, I think, at
Ah.
Ronnie Scott's years ago.
Oh, wow.
And,
And Tim Weston.
oh, all right. Hey, Tim.
Hey,
Cool.
Tim.
All right.
Tim, man. So,
I love
yeah,
Tim. It's been
me too.
I rarely see him around, but I see him on Facebook. So,
Me too. I interviewed him too. And um, he's probably sick of hearing this, or maybe not. Anyway, he produced this record that was an orchestral record, a dedication to Rodgers and Hammerstein, and he used different people on each cut with different like big arrangers, and it's like one of my all-time favorite records. It would definitely be like a desert island record. It's just
wow,
amazing. It's a really, really great record.
I will have
So
to check that out.
I always talk about it, don't I, Tim? Yeah, and Gary said he's known you since the mid 80s.
Actually, that's right. That was the very first band I was in when I came out to Los Angeles. Because
Really?
yeah, we were mutual friends of the bass player in the band, Richard Rodriguez,
Huh.
and I went to school in Berkeley or at Berkeley with Richard, and Gary knew him somehow. So that's right. I think he was in the very first jazz group that I was in when I moved to town. Probably 84, 85, something like that.
Wow.
Uh,
What years were you at Berkeley?
I was there 79 to 82, and just
72 to 75.
ooh, those those were great years. I mean, there's so
They were
many
great years.
75. JR was there in 75, right? And
Yes, he was in my band.
was he really?
Yeah,
Wow.
we had a band together.
Awesome. And Vinny was probably a couple of years after
Vinny
that.
was there.
Oh, he was? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was there. And when I moved to LA, we were hanging out because I was living with Vida and Doug Lund.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
and they were really good friends too. And so we kind of shared a house, kind of,
Yeah.
together.
All right. That must have
Yeah,
been interesting.
history,
Yeah.
pretty funny. So, okay, so I'm just curious. You were a trumpet player first, and so did you have a love affair with the trumpet? And was that?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I was devastated when I was having a lot of embouchure problems, and growing up there were no private teachers where I lived, so
Oh,
part of it stemmed from that. Part of anyway. I just had to make this decision when I got to be about 19, 20. Like, if I really want to be a professional, I have no physical ailments on the drums, and I just kind of saw myself limited in playing the trumpet. But then, of course, back then I wanted to play high like Doc Severinsen and Maynard Ferguson. I, I was listening a lot to Freddie Hubbard as well, but I hadn't put the like. Well, you don't have to do all that. The altissimo register or whatever, the high stuff. You could just play solos like all a Chet Baker or something. But anyway, so I definitely had a love affair with the trumpet. All my heroes back then were, Doc and Freddie
Maynard. Yeah, Freddie.
and Maynard, yeah, and Randy Brecker and Walt Feller, because I got hip to those guys, in my teens through some Billy Cobham records, who was a huge fan of on the drums.
Yeah.
And actually those three, Freddie, Walt, and Randy, still are pretty much at the top of my list of my favorite trumpet players.
Yeah, man.
So I was heartbroken when I'm like, I kind of, I still play trumpet maybe a couple of times a year. I'm a trumpet owner now. but
Yeah. I'm a
I
flute
still,
owner.
there you go.
Yeah.
But it was the right thing to do. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't imagine being able to play with all the people I've played with, having played trumpet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely. Were you into anything like Clifford Brown too, like that?
Somewhat. I got into Clifford later,
Yeah.
when I was trying to learn bebop
And I
drums.
guess not Miles or
Oh, well, definitely Miles. Miles. But I guess the first jazz album I had was Milestones. And
okay.
it was my oldest brother had left his record collection behind when he moved out of the house. I'm like, years later, I found it, and I'm like, wow, check this out, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was definitely into Miles as well.
You probably would have, I don't know if you played with Miles, but you probably would have played with him good as years went on into even into like the more modern
The
Miles.
electric, yeah,
Yeah.
I would have loved that, but no, I saw him play several times, but
Yeah.
I didn't get a no.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So gosh, you've played with as I said, I did glance at your bio, but that's what makes it this conversation so fun because it's so improvisational. but but I do know that you've played with a lot. As a matter of fact, when I was it might just be my thick head, but I was trying to come up with the description of you, with I tend to use a lot of adjectives and also, little things. But I was like, well, what do I say about what I know about Joel, which is extremely varied, versatile, eclectic. It doesn't quite seem like enough to say about you because I think because of who you've played with too. It's
Oh, thank you.
there's a lot of amazing top of the line players of which you are too. It's a very interesting career that I know about, Um, so
Well,
uh,
that's what keeps me on my toes. I love to mix it up. I love, sometimes I'll uh, I'll go out with Rick Springfield, and then in the same week I might, play with Mitch Foreman or something at the Baked
yeah,
Potato, or Marienthal, or whoever, and then I'll this is my studio, by the way, and then I'll do a country album for somebody in Nashville, and I'm like, that's what I love to do. I'm not
yeah,
I'm not the jazz guy. I'm not
yeah,
the rock guy, but I love to mix it up, and I love pretty much all genres of music, as long as it's good and they're great musicians, and you know they I have fun doing that,
yeah,
and collaborating with a lot of
yeah.
people from all different genres.
I can totally dig that. As a matter of fact, I was reading Kenny Werner's book last night. I'm,
The
I'm
newest one?
towards the end. The newest one, yeah,
Yeah, okay. I don't have that yet, but I hung out with him in at JEN, Jazz Education
yeah,
Network, a couple of years ago in New Orleans.
yeah, yeah,
Very interesting and nice guy. Yeah.
yeah. He's smart, interesting, and this book is really, definitely connected to effortless mastery
Okay.
and kind of beyond.
Right.
And I really get from the book he's really settled into a very, I mean, he was always spiritual, but he had, I mean, even in the book he says he had trouble applying what he was totally natural for him in music to his life. And so, but now I think he's achieved that, and it's a very philosophical and spiritual book, but it's also directly about how to go, how to look at your music and how to go forward in your music too. But Berkeley created an effortless mastery department.
We were talking about that. Yeah, when it was he, John Beasley, and myself, and and I think Steve Bailey as well, who's head of the Berkeley bass department, and we were all hanging out at a Berkeley party, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was telling me that, yeah, they have a whole department. I was like, wow.
I mean, yeah, wow, that, yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Like to have a whole department dedicated to that. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just fantastic.
I saw his trio. I've seen him a few different times, but the first time I saw him, it was over in France somewhere. I think I was with Holdsworth.
Yeah.
Um, we were doing the same bill, but different nights, so I had that night off, and I saw that trio, and it just blew me away. Ari Honig
Yeah.
on drums,
Uh-huh.
facing who the bass player was, but their musicality was just on
Yeah.
whole another level. And I mean, my favorite, and Jack and I'm spacing the other guy right now. But as I would say that Kenny Werner trio was on that level. It was just like, wow, these guys are really creating some music in the moment, and just they're so connected to their instruments, and uh, I could really tell that they had played together a lot, and they were just letting it flow, and it came out musically, like in the audience, just one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. I'll always remember that.
I totally agree with you. I think I can't really even say anything more. What you said at all about him. He's a really true master of the instrument and playing and stuff. It's really nice. And the fact that he's cool, he's written
Yeah,
these books and he's philosophical and stuff, that just adds to it.
yeah, and a nice guy, and
Yeah.
he's totally down to, very approachable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice. Um, you said the best show in your life. I recently saw a show that was so um, kind of intimate, but I think it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. It was with this young bass player named Josh Crumley and Anthony Wilson on guitar and Jay Bellerose.
Ah,
It was I at the end of the night, I was so wired up. I just was so, it brought me to such a great place, just over and over and over again. And Jay
Right.
Bellerose just kind of blows my mind. He's
Yeah,
such a
I've never.
unique drummer.
Yes, he is. I've never seen him live. I've heard him on record, of course, a ton. Um, but I've always wanted to go and see him play. Was that at the York by any chance?
No, it was at Sam First.
Oh, is it Sam First? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go check those guys out if they, hopefully they'll
Yeah.
play again.
He plays with Larry Golding.
Yeah,
Golding's a lot. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's just I think of him as minimal, but the drummer sitting next to me said he's not minimal at all. And I was
Really?
like, I was trying to look at that and going, why does he think he's not minimal? I guess, I'm not a drummer. I don't know exactly how drummers think. I know he said the drums were tuned differently. But to me, it's minimal playing because he'll like hit something and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's more like soundscape stuff.
Soundscape stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great at that.
Yeah, very
Um,
interesting.
yeah, and he's a very unique drummer, and he uses shakers and things
Yeah.
too when he plays, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and he even has like some bells, I think, that he puts on his foot sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
interesting.
think of him as kind of an Americana drummer meets jazz.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
definitely.
um, but I hate to put anybody in a box. That's
Well,
the worst thing.
I think what started this Kenny Werner thing was Kenny said, I can't remember exactly word for word, but he was talking about the different influences coming in now, like or over the years. And he said perhaps and this is from like world influences, right? Everybody's kind of aware of each other and maybe everybody's like coming together to form, this one musical experience, together, which I thought was kind of an interesting
A
thing.
huge drum circle,
Yeah, exactly.
world drum circle. Now, if we could only stop the Russians. No,
If we could only
don't get me.
stop yeah, don't get me started either.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway,
It's good that we have music and
or
stuff
not
like
the
that to,
not the Russians, the crazy man at the top.
exactly. And
Wooten.
yes.
I have so many great Russian friends.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I talk to them daily almost now. They don't know most of them are actually trying to escape, which is hard to do now. The limited flights out. And anyway, let's we'll come back to that another time.
Yeah. It's crazy shit, man. It's really crazy. Um, but let's see. Sorry. Let's see. Um, different kind of comments. Kara says, I dig that too. The bit about all genres. Frequently, music comes up in conversation with people when I'm asked, what kind of music do you like? I say, good music.
There you go. Good music.
And Anthony Cucina, hello, Anthony. He would like to ask you to talk about your experience with Al Dimeola.
Al Dimeola. All right. Incredible guitarist. Super micromanager though, which
Oh, really?
which is not the way I like to do things.
Yeah.
I mean, I figured if you hired the guys, you let them do what they do.
And maybe make a
That's
few little minor
sure,
suggestions.
absolutely,
Yeah.
but not to micromanage. But that being said, I think he probably does that with himself too. I
Yeah.
know he does. He likes to like over rehearse basically. When the first time I did several different tours with him, but actually the first time I did it, I was actually on a drum clinic tour over in Europe, and his drummer that he had didn't work out, and he was just getting ready to start a tour, and he
Mm.
called Jeff Richmond, our buddy Jeff, in a panic, saying, "Jeff, I need a drummer like ASAP, somebody who can come in tomorrow, can learn this stuff basically overnight." And Jeff goes, "Joel, Joe's the man, and he's already over in Europe. And it just so happened that I was finishing
Wow.
the night that he called me, and
Oh my God.
I was going to come back to the States the next day. And he said, Joel, I'm over here. I need a drummer. Can you fly into Germany tomorrow? We have a show. You're going to have to stay up all night and learn the stuff. I said, dude, I can do it. And that's what I did. Luckily, I can read, and, I charted everything out. And I remember flying in, God, was it Munich? I forgot which city I flew into, but I remember being in the taxi from the airport, and the guys were at a rehearsal, and they were waiting for me to get there so we could run through the music. And I still had one chart that I was doing. I wrote on the plane, and then I still had one chart. So I was in the taxi, said, keep going around the block. I'm charting out. It was at night. I'm like, turn the dome light on. Jeez, man. So I'm frantically writing out the chart, like, okay, got it. I walked in, played through all the stuff, killed it, and that was it. We did our first show, and that tour was great because I didn't have a chance to rehearse with them. That was the rehearsal, and so we'd run through stuff at sound check, and sound checks, I guess, kind of became our rehearsals.
Yeah.
But it was like we really didn't have the time for him to micromanage me on
Yeah.
that tour. So that was my first taste of it. It was a fantastic band. Mike Post on bass, and Gumbi Ortiz and Mario Parmigiana, something like that on the keyboards. Anyway, super great band, awesome material, and then after that tour, he went back to doing his acoustic thing, and then he called me about maybe let's see, that was back in 2004 or 2006. Then he called me about 5 years ago, and I went out with him again.
Oh.
And then we had 2 weeks of rehearsal in Miami, and that's when he started micromanaging. I went down there, and it was like the first day we ran through one song in 8 hours.
Oh my
I'm
God.
going, oh, are you kidding me? Because we'd already, we all did our homework. And
Yeah.
we actually, the rhythm section was Armand Sebeleko and myself, and what am I spacing the keyboard's name? Philippe Says. Great, great players, and we already, we
Yeah.
rehearsed a couple of times before we went out. Already had it together. I transcribed all the Gad stuff, so I was coming at it from, okay, this is what Gad did, and then eventually I figured I'll get my own, personality to come out in there.
Yeah.
But man, he took it apart from day one, and it was just like, oh my God, he's got a lot of 6/8 or 12/8 sort of
Yeah.
Afro-Cuban type of grooves, and it was just, I think that the point, it was like the third or fourth day of rehearsal, and he was going nuts on Armand, who's from West Africa. He's from Cameroon, and he knows that genre better than anybody. And he was like teaching him. He gave him basically a 2.5 hour pick lesson, and he had us, on hold, which is fine. But come on, 2.5 hours, and then went back in, and then he started on me, and I just kind of lost it. And I said, you know what, the gig's not for me. I can't. You have a great band here. Just take the handcuffs off. Let us play. Don't, and I kind of blew up, and which is very rare for me because I pride myself on being pretty even keeled. But anyway, I felt bad about it, and I kept telling myself, don't go there. And I was yelling at the top of my lungs. I said, dude,
Oh
you got
man.
this great band. I was like, what the fuck? Let us play. Anyway, it was the right thing to do because after that, he kind of left me alone. He didn't leave me alone. He would still tell me, but it wasn't, super, super micromanagement at that point. Anyway,
That's interesting,
but yeah, it's it's hard to be yourself when you're being micromanaged.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, I mean that's and that especially on a gig like that, it's so intense. There's so much
yeah,
music. I mean, God, you have to let it go and let the personality of the band emerge.
yeah.
I would think, you
Well,
know.
yeah, and he took me aside. He said, I just want this the music to be the best it can be. And I said, look, I totally understand that, but sometimes the way you go about it, it's 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 hard for us. Uh, anyway, we worked it out. I stayed, and then we had another. I think we had two or three legs of that tour throughout a couple of years, and then that was basically it. But it was super fun music to play. I grew up listening to that, when I was a teenager, a lot, when I was 17 or 18, a lot. The Elegant Gypsy, I think, came
Uh-huh.
out, and
Yeah.
so and I was a total Gad freak, and so it was super fun to play all those parts and those songs, and then but when we got into touring, our personalities started coming through, and we were able to kind of rise rise to the occasion, I guess. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was
Maybe
it
we
was a
can
really fun tour.
I'd like to see if we can find something on YouTube.
Oh, there's something. Speak Like a Volcano. That's
Okay.
the first tour I did with them. They recorded that over in Leverkusen, and it some of those tunes came out really good. Actually, the whole concert was really good. I think it was my third concert or something with him. Um, there should I don't know if I have any on
Maybe
my channel.
it's
I
let's
might. I
see.
might. I might.
All right, let's see.
I haven't looked at my channel in a long
And it
time.
might it might be actually more under his name rather than
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You could put Leverkusen.
And you can spell that for me?
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Lever Kusen, I believe. Leverkusen. Dimeola
Oh,
Leverkusen. I think it was 2004 or 2006.
here's it.
But we did Senior Mouse on that tour. We did, yeah, that's it.
Which song do you think?
Um, it's so small I can't read it.
Okay, there's One Night Last June, there's
Yeah,
Fugata.
one night is a nice one. That
Okay,
was
I might not play the whole thing because it's
yeah,
9 minutes, but yeah.
but
Sorry?
Al is shredding on this. I mean, he sounds. I mean, for this kind of stuff, Al is the man. He's the fast all that kind of
Yeah.
passage work. Anyway, yeah, this is
Okay, let's watch a few minutes of this.
we played with a lot of dynamics in that band.
Yeah,
Now that I'm listening, there was a lot of you know
that's cool
a lot of
because a band like with this instrumentation and playing that music, if it doesn't have dynamics, it can get boring, you know?
I totally agree. think there might be some trades at the end.
Say that again.
I think there might be some trades at the end. Can't remember.
Like
But,
towards the end of it.
Yeah. As we go into this whole Latin thing, like in 15/8 or all
Is it?
12/8.
Is it?
Oh no, this is actually a different song.
Oh.
So this is like, I guess, a clip of the whole concert.
Oh, okay. So the
yeah,
end
yeah.
of the end of
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we were just listening to. Let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah, right there. That was a nice spot. Classic Al. It was good. And this actually, his arrangements, a lot of them had tempo changes, so we had to kind of morph.
Oh,
And in that way, in that sense, it was a lot like classical,
huh.
you know.
Yeah.
Which, maybe it's the next time we go around, we get a tempo change. Anyway. Kind of fugue. There's where it slows down. Anyway,
Wow, that's like amazing stuff. It's really
thank you.
great
Yeah,
stuff.
he writes some great stuff, for sure. And a lot of his tunes are like anthems. They have a lot of different sections in them, and so you know you really need to, in order to do it right, you do need a lot of rehearsal time. You know.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
on that tour, like I said, I think that was my third or fourth gig that I was doing. So I was still reading but it was a good night. We came out okay, and um, anyway, super fun tour. Uh, all the guys are, great guys, and of course, super talented. Yumi
Yeah.
had been with him probably for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Has been with him for 30 years.
Yeah.
So
That's cool. Hey, I have an interesting question from Roland. Is it just muscle memory that enables you to play behind such diverse musical artists, or do you have to think, I'm playing rock right now, I'm playing straight ahead right now?
no, I try not to think when I play. So yeah, I would say muscle memory is a big part of it. Uh, and I've worked on all those genres. It's not like, again, okay, you know, uh, yeah, it's not something I mentally think about, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Um,
more like
but
you're in it and you
yeah,
react.
like, if I'm doing a straight ahead jazz thing, out with somebody for like a week or something, and then I have to go do a Rick Springfield gig, like
Yeah.
on a weekend or something. I would, I definitely, would have to come and shed to get my rock chops up, because that's a whole nother thing. It's not like something, I'm like in the studio. It's different. Like I can do it in a second. But if I'm doing live shows, like Rick shows, sometimes I'm the sub on that gig, and every now and then, like every 2 years or something, he'll call me like, "Oh, can you go out for a week or two?" I'll have to physically prepare myself, because that's a hard hitting gig, and I play totally different.
Mm.
Not a lot of ghost notes. I'm hitting really hard.
Yeah.
Whereas, straight ahead gig, it's
Subtle.
top, what we
Yeah.
call it's top down, whereas rock and roll is bottom up. It's bass drum, snare drum oriented. The cymbal and the hi hat,
Yeah.
they're a lot quieter than
Yeah.
jazz. It's kind of flipped the other way. The right
Yeah.
cymbal is the main timekeeper.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll have to, like, if it's a tour, I will have to. I can't flip right away. I'll have to spend some time doing that. But if in the studio, I can 5 minutes later I could do another track and flip.
Yeah.
It's just because you know I've done it so long.
Yeah.
I've always liked all genres of music, and I shed I spend a lot of time shedding on each one of them. So it's kind of it's there in my back pocket. If I had to play a 3 hour rock show right now, that would be really really tough. By
Yeah.
by 40 minutes into it, I'm going to be exhausted physically.
Yeah.
And what my brain's telling my my limbs to do probably isn't going to be the clearest channel there.
Gary Meek says, "Remember the Lorber show when we arrived exactly at its show time? We got stuck in Burbank."
Yes, I think that was. I do. That was up. It was at a winery. I think maybe either in Northern California or Oregon, maybe. Yeah, I think that's right. He's got a better memory. But yeah, we walked right on. Not even a line check. Yeah.
Well, how about Allan Holdsworth? I was talking to maybe it was a guitar player, who said that Allan was kind of like a Ted Green, like he didn't think he was good enough, or I don't know, something like that, like his.
Yeah, he uh, he was pretty introverted. And that was, yeah, his musical opinion about himself, his opinion about was not the greatest. I mean, he was his total genius.
Yeah.
Allen stuff. Nobody sounded like him. He played scales. Uh, there were like 3 octave type of scales, and he kind of approached things different. So if you let's say he might have had a sharp 4 in this one register, and the next register, no, it would be just a the natural 4. And it, like, as when you get in different registers, notes would change. He had his a whole unique way of thinking about harmony
Hmm.
and about improvisation. And man, it was one of the few musicians I just never heard repeat himself.
Uh,
It's just night after night. I'm just like, I mean, a lot of the same textures and things, but lines, he never played licks.
hmm.
And it was really inspiring. So, like, wow, someday I want to be like that when I grow up. It's just incredible. But yeah, he was always down on himself. But I think part of it, I don't want to say it was an act. It wasn't. He really truly believed that. But there's another part of him. He knew he was a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
He knew that he had something special. In fact, we that trio. I think it was Ernest on that one. So I played it with several different bass players, but we were over in it was Poland, and we were doing the Warsaw Jazz Festival,
Yeah.
and we opened up for the three tenors, which were
Oh yeah.
Liedman, Michael Brecker, and Lovano,
Uh-huh.
and all those guys they were there at the side of the stage. What they watched our whole show, and then afterwards, I went to the bar with Allan and Michael Brecker, and I didn't say anything. I'm just like, these guys were talking. There was so much mutual respect there, and those, these two heavyweights just talking about stuff, and I was just fly on the wall, like, wow, this is so cool. But Allan thought like a saxophone player,
Yeah.
and
I see.
and his favorite, I think Coltrane was probably much as one of his favorite musicians, and he tried to take from that and then kind of create his own thing. And rather than, I'm not that like Steve Hunt really knows, and Gary Husband, they really got inside his harmony and stuff. I just, since I was a drummer, I tried to talk to him about it and understand it the best I could. But it was on another level. It was pretty ridiculous.
So interesting. My girlfriend sang a few songs for him on, I think it was on a recording, and it was so weird because she and I, this was when we were quite young, it's probably like 40 years ago, and I mean, she wasn't any kind of wild singer. We were just jazz singers, and but for some reason, maybe she even wrote words to this song. I can't quite remember, but her name was Roanne Mark, and it was about 40 years ago, and they recorded it.
Wow.
And it was just so unusual because I don't think he ever really had singers, either.
He did at some point, and it was back then, like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
He had a couple of different.
Oh.
Forgot who else sang. There was a female singer, and then was it Paul Williams? I'm forgetting the guy's name. Was on IOU. He did have singers for back in the earlier days.
Yeah, yeah.
Like after the Tony Williams lifetime, but when he first started doing his solo albums, he did have some singers.
Yeah. Yeah, hit that humbleness.
Carmichael, I think. Anyway.
That humbleness was definitely like Ted Green. Ted Green was a genius. He must have realized that he had something unique, but and he knew that he had many fans and guitar students who were even top guitar players. But he was also overly humble. Like he always would say, "Well, people think they expect so much, and I don't know if I can deliver." And it's like, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. There was a lot of self-doubt, like in the live shows, and he was really nervous, and in every show he was like, he would have to calm himself, like I do. I'll always have a shot before I play. Not always, but if it's an important show, I'll have to calm my nerves because I get really nervous too, and the self-doubt definitely creeps in. I think no matter who you are, and Allan being the genius that he was, it was really hard to see sometimes that he would have to self-lubricate just to get through the show, because he would really genuinely would get really nervous, and
yeah,
I
guess it's like when you are renowned, and it's the same way. I've read that about writers and stuff. But when you're renowned, people expect you to continue being that renowned person. And what if you're not that day,
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think a little fear, though, is a good thing, because otherwise you get lazy and you're like, playing that same old crap again. And, but the fear, I mean, I still get, I get nervous when I play some shows. I'm like, oh man, I haven't prepared enough, or but then when it comes down to it, it's just like, well, you just got to let it happen. Just have enough confidence that you're going to make it through. And sure enough, 99% of the time, that's what happens. Is like, sometimes I'll get to a show where I'm like, oh, it's new music, and I haven't had a chance to really check it out, and I'll be really, really nervous and like, oh, I'm kind of freaking out. Then we get on the show, let it all go, and then some of those shows have been like, wow, it was incredible because it was so fresh.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've seen that seems to be the subject a lot these days. I mean, of course, as a teacher, you always end up talking to students about this particular aspect, like right before the show. How do you get to the magical spot? And Kenny Werner talks a lot about it. And I have conversations probably every day about this subject, and myself, I've been definitely going through a growth in this area. And I think being in the moment, really truly in the moment and appreciative of the moment, which, is why meditation is good. It's like a practice. Like Kenny keeps saying, whatever you're doing and you feel whatever, like overloaded or whatever, stop and take your hands away. And for for a minute, look around and appreciate something in the environment. And that brings you into the space again. And I've had some really good experiences with that with my bands, just doing gigs. Instead of thinking of the next song or who am I going to bring up next or what, any of that, it's like just be in the moment. I think one of the hardest things, and I don't know if I'm sure you have experienced this, but maybe not a lot because of the level of people you play with, but sometimes somebody's playing some shit, and it's hard to rise to the occasion and allow that, and just let it be and be what it is. And if you can, then everything changes. But if you can't, it's like, ugh. Have you experienced that?
When you're saying playing some shit, like some good shit?
No, some
Like,
bad
oh,
shit.
some bad shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough when I'm on the bandstand. If somebody starts, uh, not really connecting and they're really not listening, I think it all comes down to your ears and like I said, being in the moment. If you're playing live with somebody that's chopping out and not being in the moment, that's a real drag. And you just do your best to kind of fight your way through it, but that pulls you out of where you want to be, which is no thoughts at all,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I've always been pretty lucky, um, in getting to that space in the moment. I don't know why. I just kind of, I mean, prepping or before the gig, I get frazzled sometimes.
Yeah.
If I don't feel I'm, if my chops are down or if I was just too busy to look at the music, as much as I wanted to. But I think once I get on stage, I'm pretty good about forget all that. I'm here to play music. I try to do it with a clean slate.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I haven't really. I don't meditate, and I don't. I probably should, but it's just something that comes natural for me. I think, and just to okay, I'm with these guys now. We're going to create something, and I just. I think once I'm on the bandstand, I actually relax, and then it's. And like I said, I do, I'll have a shot before I play, and it definitely helps me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's about it.
That's cool.
That's just my thing.
Oh, look at this. My friend found the Allan Holdsworth with my girlfriend, Roanne Mark. The song
Wow.
Secrets.
Oh, okay. That was with Vinny and Jimmy Johnson. Okay,
Yeah, not when I
what a
look
great
at that.
album. Huh.
Yeah, it's really I'm just going to listen just a little because I'm
Yeah.
curious. And it's just so interesting because she turned out she doesn't sing anymore, but it's just interesting. Let's see. This is Dan. You're so funny. You're such a good researcher. Let's see. Get it up here.
They tracked that album. Vinny
Oh, sorry. What?
does that. Vinny Collier and Jimmy Johnson. They tracked that album themselves without Allan. They
Oh,
tracked it, and then Allan overdubbed later.
oh,
It's a very interesting way of doing it. But this album is one of my favorites. Anyway,
That's interesting. And see, it says lyrics written by her. So that's why that was one of the things, I guess. But let's hear a little bit of it anyway. Just curious.
Trying too hard. Tell me a secret. There will be 1,000 left inside.
Wow, I don't even recognize her sound. So
she's got really great enunciation.
yeah.
Her diction, right? I mean, even
Very good.
over Zoom, and I guess that's a YouTube clip probably.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could hear all the ends of the words.
Yeah.
The T's and all that stuff. Amazing. She sounded like a classical singer. Was she classically trained?
I don't remember. I mean,
Oh,
she was a jazz singer, but I don't remember if she was classically trained actually.
anyway, good
Like I said, I'm
enunciation.
not even sure that was her singing, but I guess it was.
Oh,
It's been so long since I heard her actually singing, but it sounded like her. But anyway, it's pretty interesting. Let's see. Anthony wants to know. He wants to know a few things, but one question is, which is a cool question. What do you focus on now to improve your playing, or do you work on things to improve it, or just kind of keep your chops going?
it's kind of maintenance.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wish I had the time. Oh, uh, sorry, one sec. My cord is being weird, and I don't have battery in this. Okay. I, I was thinking it was gonna disconnect us. All right. Disaster avoided. Okay, so yeah, pretty much it's kind of maintenance, so I can pull off what I hear.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I I have a pretty good vocabulary just because when I was younger, I practiced a lot.
Uh huh.
And um, I'll practice mentally, I guess, more than physically on the drums because I wish I had more time to practice, but I just don't. I teach at 3 colleges and I have like 12 private students,
Oh my
and I'm
God.
and I'm gigging like 4 or 5 nights a week. I'm one of the lucky ones. I I, I haven't been this busy in 20, 25 years. I don't know what's going on this year. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, thank God. Knock on wood again. Um, but so I every now and then I'll if okay, let me back up. So I practice mentally. If I'll listen to some of my favorite drummers or new drummers that I haven't heard of, and I'll hear some concepts maybe that I like, and I go, ooh, I maybe want to try that. But it's mostly I'm making a mental note of it in my head rather than on the kit.
Uh
But I
huh.
think if we spend some time thinking about that, it's it might show up in your playing. You know,
Yeah,
it, um,
definitely.
and I do a lot more mental practice than actually on the kit. I mean, most of my time practicing is on my steering wheel on the way to the gig to warm up, and I'm serious about that. But I'm playing every day. I mean, I track in here almost every day. I'm doing a record for an Italian blues rock guitarist at the moment. Actually, two different ones, and two different guitar players from Italy. So I'm in the middle of that. But I'm physically, I play almost pretty much every day, but it's work. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
either I'm gigging or I'm here tracking in the studio.
yeah.
Um, so as far as new stuff, I wish I had more time to do that. And but and the other thing is for me is like yesterday was my first day off in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I went skiing.
Oh,
Okay, and so that's why I was thinking I was going to have to do this
Right,
interview
right.
from the podcast from Big Bear because I was
Yeah.
going to ski again this morning, but being 62, my knees said nope. So I had a killer day yesterday, but you know, if that's the other thing, I like to do stuff outside. And if I said, okay, I have 1 hour, am I going to practice for an hour? Or am I going to go for a bike ride?
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a bike ride.
Yeah.
That's me.
Well,
Um,
and which is really healthy.
and yeah, and I'm out. I love nature. I mean, from Wyoming, that's part of the thing. I think that I got growing up is I love to be out in nature,
Yeah.
and I live in Altadena, so the bike trails are the trailhead is like 1 mile from me.
Oh,
So I ride my bike to the trailhead, and I'm in the mountains, and I go mountain biking almost every day.
oh, cool.
In fact,
Wow.
after this, I'm going mountain biking. So I
That's
love.
that's outstanding actually, especially for a busy person, that you actually make time for that. I love that.
Yeah, I have to. And I've been trying to make it a daily thing now because I'm trying to lose some weight, and
As they say,
it's the
COVID weight.
the COVID weight. It was even before COVID there. So I'm having more and more of a hard time with pain issues like in my foot, and now my knees were kind of acting up. So I gotta drop some weight. So that's kind of my priority rather than come here and shed and get a new lick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That I'll use.
You're probably doing pretty good, so,
Yeah.
as a drummer.
So as far every now and then though, I'll get my mechanics together if I hadn't played in a few days or a week or whatever, if I'm on vacation. Oh, when's the last time that happened? But anyway, um, if I need to get that together, if I haven't played for a while, I will go through mechanic things on the kit and just set up. I don't know, like if I want to work on linear type of stuff, I'll go through that.
Yeah.
I have a series of exercises that I used to do all the time from my teacher Gary Chafee back in the day called fat backs. That's anyway, it's ostinato type of playing, which is pretty much 95% of the type of playing that I do is ostinato based, where you have repeated patterns, and I'll do that. But that's just mechanics and
Warm ups, kind of.
warm up to
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing, just to get it to flow. And I have enough trust, I guess, in my playing that I will come up with new shit on the gig.
yeah,
That just because I'm if everything's firing on all cylinders and I have a blank slate, I'm not thinking licks or anything like that. I'm thinking what's going on. Like I especially like to trade forwards or trade eights. That really gets me into that. Okay, I'm reacting to what this musician just said. So if
yeah,
I'm trading with a bass player or whatever, um, I'm spitting back at him. We're having a conversation, ideas, and I try not to get into okay. I'm pulling out licks. I
yeah,
try not to go there. Of course, it's almost impossible not to do that at some point.
yeah, yeah,
But anyway, I don't know if that answers the question.
yeah,
Basically, it's maintenance, and I'm not really learning a whole lot of new stuff. I think once school stops for the summer, then I'll have some more time, and yeah, I'd like to get in here and shed some more, maybe learn some new concepts. But I do practice mentally um, pretty much every day when I listen to
yeah,
something. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, that's interesting. But I'm looking at more of the musical content rather than the technical content.
yeah,
Um, why did he do it musically? What's going on there? When I was younger, it was more about technique and stuff. But I have enough technique now, so I can. For me,
yeah.
I don't feel like I need more technique. I want to be more musical.
It's really interesting. That's really interesting. Thank you for telling all that. And Kara has a long comment question. Let's see. She has a twin sister who's completely tone deaf, yet insists she wants to sing if we ever jam. She's a great guitar player, but she can't seem to accept that she should just let the singer sing, and stay in her lane. It's excruciating. Fortunately, we're never in front of anyone but my dogs around a campfire. I can't sing along. I'm not strong enough to sing over someone belting it off key. I can't imagine dealing with egos on stage. Professional musicians have my absolute respect. I love it that we're getting back to live music. Can't wait to hear you again, Joel. And
Thank you.
yeah, and Cara, if you want to know where I am, you can join my email list. Go to my website, and then I send out where I'm playing. But where are you playing? That's what you're playing
I
these days.
I play baked potato quite a bit. I played last week. I played the week prior with some different bands. I play a lot with Eric Marienthal, and we usually play down at Spaghettini's.
Oh yeah,
Spaghettini's down in Seal
yeah.
Beach.
Uh huh.
We're down there at least once a month, sometimes twice a month,
Oh,
and he usually has a guest artist. The last time we did it, Peter White was a guest artist.
cool.
But so Spaghettini's, baked potato. Just look on their site, or you can look on my Facebook sites. I usually don't advertise those. The one gig that I do advertise on my Facebook and Instagram is my local gig here in Pasadena, and that's the gig that I curate, and I book the guys and kind of uh,
You play every week there?
I somebody plays every week there. If I have another gig that I'm doing, I will sub it out. But I generally am leader on the gig, or we. I mean, I hire guys that I played with and that I love playing with, through over the years, and I kind of put this guy with this guy, and it's really nobody's the leader on it. We're just we either play tunes that we all know, or like Ben Shepherd was doing it for a long time, but Ben just moved back to New Zealand, unfortunately.
Oh, huh.
And he lives down the street from me, or he had lived down the street from me.
Oh,
Oh, he was doing it quite a bit, and Quinn Johnson also lives here in Altadena, so he does it with me a lot, and Chuck Manning.
oh,
So we had a group, and we called ourselves the Altadena Quartet, and it was basically Chuck, Quinn, and I, and then we'd have rotating bass chair, and Putter does it sometimes.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
we played with Putter, actually a different gig, but it was in Pasadena last weekend. So
how
that
nice.
that was cool, and but I mix it
Butter.
up. It's every Friday. It's a place called the 1881,
Yeah.
and it's on Washington and Allen, the corner there, in Pasadena. And it's always new guys. I had different groups. I had Scott Henderson about a month ago,
Wow. Scott
and
Henderson.
it was
Holy
killing.
moly.
We did a whole night of improv. We no
Ah,
tunes. I mean, actually, we might have played two Wayne Shorter songs.
yeah.
The rest of the night was just improv, and it was killing. Ernest played bass on it, and Scott Kinsey played keys.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
so we go from that, and then 2 weeks ago I had Bruce Foreman and
Yeah.
Osnoy
Oh, wow.
together, because Osnoy
Wow.
was in town. So,
Yeah.
and Bruce does it quite a bit. He's coming up again in about a month, or coming down
So
from
the styles change a little, right?
totally changed. And that, again, that's what I love. There's so many you know, different styles in jazz. I love the weather report kind of stuff, but I also love the straight ahead stuff. And when I'm playing with Bruce, I feel he makes me a better swing player.
Yeah,
He swings so hard
I
that you
know.
just can't help but
I
swing with
know.
him.
I
So
know.
so I've been very fortunate to mix it up and have all these guys play. So
That's so cool. Yeah, gosh, I don't know what to address first, but there's another really nice gig every Sunday that Brad Rebuchin does. He mixes it up too. Like 2 weeks ago, I went and Gary Fukushima on piano, who's I just love Gary. I think he's a really unique rhythmic and harmonic player. And the bass player was a guy. Was it Eric Sills?
I don't know Eric Sills. I know Alex Sill.
But that's the guitar
Guitar player. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
this is a bass player who used to live here and then didn't
Oh.
whatever, and Mark Ferber,
Oh wow.
and it was like,
What was Mark doing in town?
well, he lives here now.
Oh, I didn't know that. Right.
Yeah, he moved here, and but he's basically bi-coastal, but yeah, he did move here, so. Yeah, but there's just so much great music around, and it's really fun to see. I'm definitely going to start coming over on Fridays to hear what this
It's fun, It's
experience is.
just a
Yeah.
little bar. It's that the sound is. We're working on it. It's a little reverberation in there, a little bouncing on it. It's not acoustically treated, but we try to play the room for the most part.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear Putter's still playing. I mean, I saw him recently because there was, Chris Blondell started booking this church in Eagle Rock called the Harmony, well, St. Bees, the
Oh
Harmony.
yeah. Oh, okay.
And so I went to see Larry Kuntz and Derek Oles, and Putter was there with Dave Kuntz. And I hugged Putter, and, well, first of all, I said, "Oh, you feel good." And then I said, "Putter,
boy.
yeah," I said, "Putter, I want to come see you." And he said, "Yeah, well, watch TV." Because I know he really likes to watch TV lately.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, and this happened before VR passed, but he was
Yeah.
watching TV then too.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah,
good to hear he's playing too.
we went into the studio a couple of years ago, like right before COVID hit, and we recorded some straight ahead stuff over at Nolan's
Oh,
over in Pasadena. And
yeah.
he hasn't mixed it yet, but there was some really cool stuff on there. It was forgetting that the saxophonist was from like Seattle or Portland area.
Oh, I know who you mean. He used to live here.
Yes.
John,
John.
John, something with a B or a G. John, ugh, it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Anyway, it came out really
Gross.
good. Yes, John Gross.
Yes.
That's correct. Good. Anyway, that was super fun. That's the first time that I got to record with Putter, and I had a blast. And he still, I think once COVID came, he didn't want to go, back over live
New York.
and
Oh, yeah.
to the studio.
Oh, yeah. He was
But,
going to New York a lot for a
Was he?
while.
Oh.
Yeah, he was. It was interesting. It was maybe 15 years ago. He started going there. He just said, I have to go get into some music. And he went. He like rented somebody's apartment, and he started going and sitting in and playing. And
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Huh.
yeah, he really got into that for a while, and it was good. It was like a shot in the arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love Chuck Manning, by the way. He plays
Yeah,
with
me
me.
too.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
yeah, I love him.
Yeah, we're all neighbors. He used to live 5 houses away from me, and then he bought a house, but he still lives like a mile away from me. So
Yeah.
I see him on my if I bike the other way instead of going up the mountain, I'll cruise by his house.
Yeah, Chuck. Hey, so should we listen to something? Should we listen to Allan Holdsworth or one of the 1881 gigs, or what should we do?
Sure. I don't. Gosh, I don't know where any of that is. I did a studio with album with Allan, but it never got released. I still have like 5 or 6 messages from him, within the last 10 years, before he passed away. He said, "Joel, you and Ernie sound great, I want to get my guitar parts in there. So what happened was we tracked it live in Pasadena, and Allan, being Allan, he erased all his guitar parts because he hated them, and so he wanted to re-record his stuff. And like once or twice a year, I'd get the call from him, man, I'm going to work on this stuff, and going to get it out. Just never happened. It was just, so I'm, you know, one of those things.
Maybe it will someday. I remember I recorded with Joe Diorio, a duo,
Uh,
and it was in a kind of a weird. It was in a voiceover studio, but it was only a duo. But Joe decided that he wanted to use an effect that he had never used. And we just assumed that his Italian label would pick it up because they loved him, but they didn't like the effect. So it sat on the shelf. Then he had a stroke, and he was going through all his tapes, and he called me and he said, "This is really pretty. Let's release it." But it was a number of years later, you know.
yeah, I think he wiped the tapes though of his guitar.
Oh.
I don't think they're there now. I don't. Um, his daughter, I think, has those, and I would like to get those at some point. That's one of the things that Ernest and I both were wondering. Maybe there is some remnants of what he did on the session, because we tracked it live in the session. So he had guitar solos on there when we played. So or maybe he had some guitar solos on there that he just didn't want to release. But I don't know. Wishful thinking. We'll see.
Well,
One of the,
we could play some of Allan Holdsworth, or we could play.
why don't you play? Can you find Jeff Richmond?
I can find Jeff Richmond.
Let me think which
One of my favorite guitar players on the planet.
yeah, me too.
Here's a Jeff Richmond, let's see, and You, My Old Room, which I think is a ballad.
That's a ballad.
Jeff Richmond, Pygmy People, is that with you?
That could be.
At the Baked Potato or at Alva's?
Oh, maybe they wanted Alvis. I don't know what's
Let's
up
see
there.
the Pygmy People, if that's you. Yeah, it's you.
It is?
Okay,
Okay, let's check that out. Oh wow.
Jeff
This
Richmond.
is on YouTube? This
Yeah.
is not on my channel, is it?
I don't think so. I just brought it up. I said Joel Taylor and Jeff Richmond.
Oh. I love Jeff's compositions and his guitar playing.
I love Jeff.
This particular one is in
great.
11.
Oh,
Who's playing bass? Oh, Haslett. Man, one of these days I'll have time to actually listen to some of this stuff.
yeah. Oh, this band sounds great.
miss playing with Jeff. Really miss playing with him.
I know, me too, me too.
Know that this is an 11.
No. No, it seems real smooth.
I think there's a drum solo in here. Maybe. Oh, Coda. Oh, here's the drum solo, I think. Maybe not. So we morphed into 12/8. When it goes to the coda, it went to 12/8. Or 12/4, I guess. Marimba pad. The structure of the tune, but then we'd take them and really jam on them.
Yeah.
There's nobody better than these guys, Mitch and Timmy. And
Yeah.
For that kind of stuff. I keep thinking there was a solo in here somewhere, but I used to solo on the end of this tune.
It sounds like the beginning of a possible solo.
Could be.
Well, or not.
I don't think I've seen this clip. Cool. Maybe I wasn't feeling it. Ooh, different rate. There it comes.
Anyway, this is really good. If you guys out there should go watch more of this because it's so good. You know,
Thanks for finding that. Wow.
Yeah, you know, Jeff lives really close, like real walking distance from me. So maybe he and I will both come to hang out at the 1881.
Oh, that would be good. Actually, I had him there a couple of years ago, but yeah, I would. I don't know
It'd
how
be fun to come and hang out. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta come. I've been meaning to go visit Jeff. He's still in Northridge, right? That area.
Yeah, it's Granada Hills. Yep,
Okay.
he's still there. Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So when I do, maybe I'll go have. I'll give you a buzz. Go have some lunch. That'd be fun.
Absolutely, man.
I miss Jeff.
I know. He's
we,
great.
We used to play so much together with Dean Taba.
Oh,
And I totally miss Dean. You know.
me too, man. When he
Hawaii.
moved, it killed me. I was like,
Me
"You're
too.
moving? You
Yeah.
can't."
We used to play a lot, and man, that band has never sounded that good. I mean, Jeff always has different guys in the band, but my favorite band that I was a part of with Jeff was with Dean, just because we got to play so often, and it was really a creative experience.
Yeah.
It was like Jeff just let us do what we want, you know, with rhythm section parts. So we came up with some really cool stuff that went over the bar line, and it was just a really creative point in my life, and I'll always appreciate that. And Jeff's tunes as the vehicle, just incredible.
He's a great composer. He really is.
Incredible composer,
Yeah.
man, and his harmonic sense is so deep.
I know.
It's like Holdsworth in that way. I mean, totally different vocabulary,
Yeah.
but he's got a super deep harmonic sense, and I just love that. and his tunes are very interesting. A lot of odd time signatures, so we can really do cool things with him going across the bar line and coming up with grooves not normal, the normal type of grooves.
Yeah.
And he allowed us to do, for me and Dean to do that, and I really learned a lot, and I'm really proud of some of the albums that I did with Jeff. I think I did 4 different ones, but especially the first 2 were probably my favorites.
I'm gonna have to go back and revisit those. I just he and I actually went to Berkeley together.
Oh, okay.
And we knew each other when we were both here, like in the late 70s. And so, yeah. And
You were the one female student at Berkeley at the time?
yeah, man, there might have been 3 of us and a lot of guitar players, but
Wow.
yeah, that was like really, but I just always thought I was kind of blown away that I know Jeff had, he has his fans and, he's known, but I just think he should have been more known because he's just
I agree.
friggin' great player.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. It's the album we did with Peter Wolf from
Oh, yeah.
the Zappa Peter
Yeah.
Wolf, the keyboard player producer. It was Dean Taba, myself, Jeff, and Peter. We did that at Peter's ranch in wherever that was, Simi Valley, when Peter,
Okay.
before he moved to Malibu. He had a place out there,
Yeah.
and it was magical. That whole album is called Last Arrival, I believe,
Last Arrival. Yeah.
unless that's just the name of one of the tunes on there.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up now because I don't want to give wrong information. Jeff Richmond.
Yeah, I think it's hard to remember everything, but I think Jeff and I were in Europe. Oh yeah, we were. We were in Austria. There was this guy who owned a school. They were a musician and gigs and stuff. And Peter Wolf was in Austria too,
Yes. Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite. Yeah. He had a place there as well,
Yeah.
and he had a great studio. One of my favorite
Right.
sessions. I
There,
did
yeah.
was there when we were on tour. We took a couple of days and we did a movie for him.
Yeah.
Which it was a German movie, and the translation was "To err is manly,"
Huh.
and it was one of my favorite sessions because I got to play flugelhorn on it. I got to do the drum tracks on it, or half of them. Vinny Colaiuta did the other half, and I got to sing on it. And
Oh my God.
I sang a punk rock song that we just made up. He said, "Well, I need this scene. This scene has to be punk rock." So I'm like, and then I played flugelhorn on one of the tracks as well because he had a flugelhorn in it. And I started playing it. He said, "Dude, play the melody on this." I said, "Okay." So it
That's
was
cool.
a super fun session.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm looking at Jeff Richmond discographies. God, what's the name of that? Yeah, it was Last Arrival. Okay, I was right. All right,
Cool. I wrote it
that's
down.
a good one. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. I'm so happy to, to check that out. Let's see. We're coming into the last teeny little bit of the hang, I mean, we don't have
Oh,
to
good.
be 2 hours, but still.
I have to go buy a dishwasher and install it.
Oh
So
my God. Well,
that's
I have to go buy some boots because I'm going to the East Coast and the weather is 37 during the day.
wow.
I don't know if I'm from Boston originally, but it's been a long time.
Are you from Boston originally? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in Newton.
Oh, okay. I used to live in Brighton, right next door.
Me too. I lived in Brighton when I was in college. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Brighton was cool.
Yeah.
Boston's cool. Every time I go back there,
Oh.
I feel like I return to college, which could be dangerous. But I always go, wow, I'm from here. It's just such a great feeling.
It was a great place to go to college. Oh my God. I learned so much just by being in Boston. I can't imagine. I mean, I went to University of Wyoming right out of high school, but playing trumpet, and then I took a year off, and I'm like, I need to go to Berkeley, and I'm changing to drums, so I took a year off,
Wow.
worked at a Pepsi Cola factory in my hometown, and saved a bunch of money, and which put me through my first 3 semesters of college. Now it wouldn't even pay for 1 month.
I know. No kidding, man. Woo.
There's no way I could afford to go to Berkeley at the prices now. It's unbelievable. I
Yeah.
don't know how these kids do it. They're gonna have so much debt unless you're on a scholarship,
There's
but
probably a lot of scholarships, but
I hope so. Yeah, probably.
I was talking to a singer. You know how many singers are in there? And now this could include online, but 1,400.
Oh my God, I was gonna say 500 or 600, and I was thinking, oh, that's probably too much. Really?
Yeah,
1,400.
that's just
That's
vocalists.
insane.
Yeah,
I think there's like 900 or 1,000 drummers. I think when I went there was 300 drummers, maybe.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, there were a lot. God, when I went there, Smitty was there, Smitty Smith,
Ah.
and Tane,
yeah. Oh, wow.
and Gene Lake, and Gene, the other Gene, I'm spacing his name, Gene Jackson.
Uh-huh.
A lot of Tommy Campbell was still
Oh,
there.
yeah.
The first semester I was there.
Yeah, yeah.
There were some great drummers there. And we used to say, and Terry Lynn, she was like 13. I'm serious. There was the drummers. Remember the drum practice row,
Yes,
right?
yes,
By the lockers, and there's
yes.
all at any given time during the day there was 20 of us shedding like, whoa, what's this sticking? What's the And I remember once a week Terry Lynn would be walking by, like she'd come for some ensemble or something at 13. We're like, that's you got to watch out for this girl. She's the next prodigy, and of course.
Wow, that's incredible. Oh
Yeah,
my God. Well,
yeah.
Tommy Campbell too. Yeah, I kept bumping into him in Japan,
Oh yeah.
years later, because I've
I
been to Japan a lot, and somehow we found each other again.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hung out with him over in Tokyo the last time I was in Tokyo before he moved. Now he lives in New York again, but
Oh,
when he was living there, we hung out. He came out actually to a couple of my shows. One with Holdsworth at the Pit Inn in Roppongi. I don't know if you
oh
remember
yeah,
that
sure.
place.
Hit in, yeah, man.
Yeah. So we had a nice hang afterwards with Tommy. Uh, he wanted to go shed, like this is at 2 in the morning. But he had somebody that owned a studio, so we went and we played for a little bit, and it was like, of course, I was in awe of Tommy because he was the man, back in Boston when I first started going to school there. I used to watch him all the time. But anyway,
Did you go to Kobe with Jeff Richmond
I
to
did.
school to the school there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Uh,
that was the guy Segauchi who he was the
Gouch, yep,
president,
yep.
and he actually brought me over for 20 years or something, and there was a piano player who lived there, Philip Strange,
I know
who
Phil. Yeah.
oh well Phil and I were like we traveled all through Japan together for years and years and years through
Yeah,
Segauchi.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've done many clinics, at that place. He no
I know.
longer owns the conservatory.
I know
So,
he got old before his time. He decided I was very good friends with him, and he
oh,
just I saw him decide that he was getting old, and he wasn't.
oh,
He was around my age or something. And
oh,
he married a younger woman, which was an interesting moment in time, and had a daughter, and his sister ran the school partly, and yeah, that was
I,
interesting time.
yeah, we did a few tours for him, and I did several clinics for him. When I
Yeah,
used to go to Japan all the time.
yeah.
Um, uh, and then we did one with Matt Garrison.
Oh,
the bass player,
Yeah.
Jimmy's son, when he was really young. I think he was probably 21 or 22.
Yeah.
Incredible player, and Tiger Akoshi. So we did half Tiger's music, half Jeff Richmond's music, and that was a great band, man. We played some, and then I found out that Matt was born on the same day, like 12 or 13 years younger.
Your birthday?
My same birthday.
Oh, how
June
that's
2nd.
wild. Yeah, that's
Like
funny.
that.
That's
And,
cool. And
yeah,
Tiger
have you
Akoshi, man, I've looked for Tiger in the last like 2 years since I've been doing this show. Can't
Oh,
seem to quite locate him. I don't know if he's
oh,
still in
really?
Boston. Yeah.
Do you? I might have a number on him.
Oh, cool.
I
Great.
mean, it could be super old though. I
Yeah,
mean,
if you do send it to
Okay.
me, and because we're friends, and I just lost touch with him for so long. When we used to go over, we hung out with him too, and the guy who played with Gary Burt, Makoto Azone,
Oh yeah.
because Makoto's dad was kind of like he was a famous pianist there.
Organist, right?
Yeah,
Or,
or piano. I thought it was
Maybe
piano,
piano.
but I don't know. So yeah, it was kind of a heritage thing, kind of like Wynton Marsalis, kind of, but
Yeah.
in Japan.
Yeah, Makoto's
Yeah,
incredibly talented. He was also he went to school with me,
yeah,
and so I knew him from then. So I don't see him much anymore, but we're friends over the years.
yeah. He's a really exceptional player. Very good.
Exceptional.
Really nice.
He,
I almost feel like you and I had dinner together with a bunch of those guys. I
he
don't
might
know.
He might have.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It'll come to me. Well, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm so thankful to you for giving me this time. It's really gracious of you, and
Oh, I appreciate it.
so much fun to talk to you. And
Likewise.
just
It's been a long time,
yeah.
and I'd love to play with you again sometime.
I would love to play at 1881 or
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, you know what?
I mean,
I will book you.
Cool.
We'll talk and we'll see who you want in the band, and I'll book it.
excellent.
They don't really have. They have a PA. It's a terrible PA, but
I have a little PA.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we'll make it happen. Sounds good.
That's so cool. And thank you so much. It's been really fun. I know the audience has really been very, enamored with you, and it's just nice. It's great to know that you're happy and you're successful, and it really warms my heart. It's really nice.
Oh, thank you. Last couple of years have not been easy, but we've all pulled through, most
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah,
And I think we're better for it.
I think so. I think so.
All right.
I'll
Thank
let you
so much.
go, and I'm gonna just chat a little to the people and tell them who's coming.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thanks, everybody.
My wonderful guest, Joel Taylor. Gosh, that was fun. And I got a gig out of it. It's great. Let's see. Gosh, that was fun. I'm going to be riding high on that. It's really nice. Tomorrow is a fantastic young piano player, kind of along the lines of a modern Oscar Peterson, Sam Hirsch. He's an LA guy, and he's really a good player. Just great, harmonically and rhythmically, and nice person too. So that's tomorrow. That's live. Then I'm going to start doing a longer time, about a week and a half of archives, because I'm going away. I'm going to the East Coast to hang out with my family, and it's just not, 2 hours out of that moment in the middle of the day. It's just, I'm doing archives. What can I say? So archives in the next week and a half, just quickly name off, but you can always go to my website and see who. Claire Martin, vocalist from England, one of the top English vocalists. Friday is Will Brom, fantastic guitar player. Saturday, these are from 2020. Saturday is Bevan Manson, genius great piano player, arranger, composer with 1 foot in classical and 1 foot in jazz. Sunday is a really great jazz singer named Janice Borla from Chicago. Monday, really cool bass player who's played with, kind of like Joel, like many different styles and people, been on the road with big people, David Pilch. He's really good. Tuesday, one of the premier Brazilian vocalists, and especially here in America, Claudia Villela. She's beautiful and great. Wednesday, March 16th, another Brazilian singer, pianist, composer, arranger, Katina de Luna, who's married to Otmar Ruiz, the great piano player. And Katina's really wonderful, warm, and very great musically. She's really cool. Thursday, kind of an odd duo. I have 2 people on. The first half is actually my singing teacher, Stephen Kronauer, who was a child prodigy and a classical singer, and he's really a cool guy, very cool. And then the second half is Stephen Nachmanovich, my dear friend, who is one of the leading authors and philosophers in the world. He wrote Free Play, Improvisation in Life and the Arts. And he's an improvisational violinist. And he's a totally cool guy. Really great. Friday, the arranger, Nan Schwartz, who is one of the premier composer arrangers in the industry. And Saturday, the great vibist, Nick Mancini. And Sunday, the great pianist who is another old friend of mine from the old days here, Russell Ferrante from the Yellow Jackets. So after that, feel free to look at my website and see who I have. Yeah, there is, Daryl. Thank you. You can either... I'm trying to get that together so that the archives are not only on Dropbox, because Dropbox does hold my archives, which you can find the archive link either in the details above, or you can go to my website, Cathy Segal-Garcia, and you can find the archive link. But I would suggest YouTube, the YouTube channel, the Noontime Hangs, and I'm getting that together. Hopefully, I'll have some time in the next week that I can concentrate and do that. I want to house them on YouTube rather than Dropbox, because Dropbox has been giving me some trouble, actually, with people going and opening up the link. I had no idea that Dropbox would give me trouble like that, but they've actually been shutting me down for like a day at a time when too many people download links. So I'm going to be changing that. But you can see it on Facebook. My music page is a little better to see the archives because it doesn't have as much noise on it as my personal page. So Cathy Segal-Garcia Music, it's a better one, Daryl, to watch the past interviews, some of the past interviews. So, Crystal, I see. I don't know those 2 people, but we'll talk. We'll talk about that. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And by the way, today's guest, Joel Taylor, was number 407. And one more thing. My book just came out, The Act of Becoming. You can find it on Amazon or Book Locker, which is the publisher, and you can get it either in book form or online. So, The Act of Becoming. It's a philosophy book. Just talks about how the same lesson in life can apply to other areas like singing jazz or voice technique or driving a truck or playing golf. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough of me. Thank you. Congratulations. I know, 407. It's a lot, right? Thank you, Crystal. Okay, everybody. Adios.